Do you know that by partaking in tap dancing or something that triggers a different part of the brain that you haven't used is actually beneficial to anything you do in real life? It can actually strengthen parts of your brain that will help your performance in jobs or in teaching or anything of the sort. Today I will be discussing the overall origins of tap dancing. This will include the discovery of tap as well as the origin and when it truly became known and popular, and then its importance to dancers and society and culture as a whole. So the basic part of how tap became discovered was by articulating rhythmic patterns. This is through hearing beats of music or a drum or even a clock. By hearing the steady beat and rhythm of the thing, you can yourself tap your foot or tap your fingers or snap or anything like that on the beat, and that is considered a type of tap dancing pretty much. Matching your sounds to the music is a huge main role in tap dancing. And the second main part of how it was discovered is by movements of the feet in particular, because tap dancing is mainly used to describe movements of one's feet in a rhythmic pattern to a type of song or clock or metronome. And so the movements of the feet can be seen as chugging or scooping, brushing, or even shuffling. Shuffling is the most popular because even in today's dance studios, we teach our pre-dance children, so like our 3-year-olds, what shuffling is, which is pretty much two sounds that go on a beat, mainly to music, but it could be to a clock or a metronome or something that has a steady beat in general. Next to be discussed is the origin of tap, and it mainly began to be popular like with the shoes that have the taps on them in the mid-19th century. Tap has been around forever though, because it can be seen as even rain dancing and tribal dances that people used to do way back when, even in caveman ages. But it became popular with the shoes and everything like that in the mid-19th century. It could be seen as a type of communication. Since it was in the mid-19th century, it is how some people decided to communicate in a secret way. And physical codes could be the buck and wing. A buck time step is what dancers learn today as a certain type of step that is originated by Irish clogging steps, which is pretty cool. And then the wing, which is quite difficult and people don't normally learn today until they're in advanced levels of dance. It's a British clogging step, so tap is presumed to be originated from Irish clogging or British clogging. It has grown a lot more though, and it's branched off of clogging. It's not the exact same thing, but it's quite similar because you're making beats on time with music. And then finally, the importance of tap for dancers. Tap dancing is extremely important for dancers because it can strengthen the bones and muscles in their legs and ankles, which they can also use for point, which is dancing on your toes pretty much. It's pretty much like ballet. And it needs a major amount of ankle strength, because going up on your toes, you can break your ankles quite easily just by rolling them the wrong way. And for dancers, it can strengthen their syncopation and musicality, which of course dancers are going to need anyway, because in dance they have to have musicality. It's 90% of the time a main technique issue that dancers have, and is looked at in competitions as one of the main skills that dancers have to manage in their competition dances and things like that. And it's also very important for culture, because it's a way for one person to express themselves, especially in a way that many wouldn't. It makes them feel unique, which I think is pretty cool. One main quote that has always stuck with me is from a man named Mitch Hedberg, and he's a tap dancer, a very, very good tap dancer. And he says, "I would imagine that if you could understand Morse code, a tap dancer would drive you crazy," which I think is kind of funny, because, you know, Morse code, beats and steady sounds. If a tap dancer is doing some crazy beat to some music, or even just out of the blue, it could be really fast and crazy. And so if someone understood Morse code, they'd probably think you were insane. But overall, I think learning an activity such as tap dancing can strengthen a certain part of the brain that most people wouldn't really use in their daily life. And so overall, I think it's just really nice to partake in activities that you wouldn't normally partake in, because it will strengthen a part of the brain that you wouldn't normally use, and it can help you later in life and will make you discover something new about yourself that you wouldn't have really known before.